It's 9 o'clock. Are we ready to go live in Chambers?
Yes, good morning. Commissioner, can you hear us?
Yep, I've got you.
Great.
All right,
We're ready.
we're good to go?
Yes.
All right, good morning, staff and members of the public. I declare the special council meeting of 28 August 2026 open at 9 a.m. The Shire of Carnarvon acknowledges and respects the Ngida and Bayungwi people as traditional custodians of the lands where we live and work. We pay our respects to elders past, present and emerging. The Shire of Carnarvon is committed to honouring the traditional custodians' unique cultural and spiritual relationships to the land, waters and seas and their rich contribution to society. This meeting is being live streamed and recorded to facilitate community participation and for minute-taking purposes as required by the Act. I advise that I'm attending the meeting by electronic means pursuant to Regulation 14 capital C 2C of the Local Government Administration Regulations 1996. Members of the public are reminded that in accordance with the Meeting Procedures Local Law 2021, mobile phones and other electronic devices should be switched off and not used during this meeting. Attendance will be recorded in the minutes as per the requirements of the Act. There are no apologies and there are no approved leave of absence. Item 2, CEO, are there any declarations of interest?
We have not received any declarations of interest.
Thank you. Are there any declarations to be made at the meeting today? No. That will take us to item 3, public time, and 3.1, public question time. Ladies and gentlemen, this is an opportunity for members of the public to ask questions of council. As this is a special meeting of council, questions are limited to the purpose of the meeting. That is the agenda items that are before council in accordance with Regulation 7 4B of the Local Government Administration Regulations 1996. The Shire of Carnarvon Meeting Procedure Local Law 2021 allows each member of the public to ask up to 2 questions before other members of the public will be invited to ask their questions. Public question time is allocated a minimum period of 15 minutes in accordance with the Act. If myself as the presiding member determine that the questions are out of order due to the use of offensive or objectionable expressions or are defamatory, they will not be considered, recorded nor responded to. I declare public question time open at 9:03 a.m. CEO, have we received any questions prior to the meeting?
Yes, we have been informed of 2. We have a member of the public that has presented with those, and we do have 2 that have been presented.
Yep, so I understand they are from Mr. Kelly. I invite Mr. Kelly to come forward and ask his first question.
Good morning, Commissioner, CEO, staff and fellow numerous members of the public sitting in the gallery. Yes, I have a number of questions, Commissioner and CEO, but I'll condense those for the purpose of the meeting down to 2. My priority questions are, do you consider the Shire's current financial position and operating model to be sustainable over the medium and longer term? And if so, what are the principal assumptions under which that assessment is based? And also, if there's an area of concern or areas of concern, what do you and collectively and individually consider need to be addressed in the short to medium term to place the Shire on a demonstrably sustainable financial footing? And I thank you if you could consider those.
Thanks, Mr. Kelly. I might start and then provide the opportunity for the CEO to provide some further detailed response. But I think in terms of me being able to guarantee the medium to long-term financial position of the Shire of Carnarvon is difficult because that in many respects is up to the future decisions of a future council. And I'll talk about this a little bit in my budget speech, which will be focused on some of the things that I think council should turn its mind to over the next 10-year planning horizon. And key to that is an immediate review of our revenue strategy, particularly with a focus on our rating approach to make sure that it is equitable amongst ratepayers, but also delivers on the long-term financial plan. On the long-term financial plan, I think this is also an area that council, once it adopts its new strategic community plan, its major review, it really needs to align the long-term financial plan and the revenue strategy to its aspirations and the community's aspirations and expectations. So in terms of this budget, in answer to your question, I think it is financially sustainable. It is a balanced budget, notwithstanding that we are seeing a drawdown from reserves and an increase in borrowings to achieve some of the things that council wants to achieve this financial year. But that medium to long-term question really is in the hands of a future council, and I think really should be a priority area of interest and focus for the 8 elected members when they come together in December. And they'll be immediately, I think, commencing the budget process for the next financial year. CEO, did you want to add to that?
Thank you very much, Commissioner. Yes, I believe that this year, a couple of the areas that we've really demonstrated that we are trying to put the Shire on a footing that is sustainable into the future is borrowing for plant and making sure that we move to a purchase plant environment so that we're able to really maximise the returns and the investment that can occur there for the council, and to start chipping away at a 20-year-old lag in our asset management. Every piece of plant that we're looking to take over to replace this year is way outside of its replacement time and is not fit for purpose anymore. So I think in that area, we're also chipping away at some of our capital maintenance through grants and looking to upgrade in that area. We have a considerable amount of work on us in terms of sustainability and getting there, and waste is a huge area, and we're investing in that environment as well. So I think at the moment, we are placing ourselves to be able to work with council going forward, to look at the long-term financial plan, to be able to find a way to look at some asset management and be able to start to chip away at that process. In order to really do that, though, council does need to really consider that, there's been a significant lag in rates, and that is our opportunistic area for us to raise money. And we do need to work better with our community on how to help them understand what they need, what we need to raise in order to be able to provide a council that can meet their needs into the future. Thank you.
I might just add as well, I mean, this is a challenge that is affecting just about every local government in the state. We have 139, probably all but about 5 or 6 of them aren't cash backing their depreciation. So if you look at this year's budget, we've got $8.7 million in depreciation. We're collecting $8.4 million in rates. So the ability for the local government sector to undertake adequate asset renewal is significantly constrained. And so that's been an eternal challenge probably for as long as local government has existed, but is one of the realities that we have to deal with year to year. Are there any further public questions? No, if there's no further public questions, I declare public question time closed at 9:09 a.m. We now move to item 3.2, public deputation time. CEO, I don't believe there are any approved public deputations at this time.
We have not received any, commissioners.
Thank you. We now move to item 4, and we have one report, which is item 4.1.1, presentation of the draft 2026-27 financial year annual budget. This item presents for council's consideration the adoption of the 2026-27 statutory budget. As I mentioned at the ordinary council meeting held on Tuesday of this week, the Shire of Carnarvon received ministerial approval to levy differential rates late on Friday, after agenda cutoff. Whilst technically the budget could have been presented as a late item, this would have denied the community and council the opportunity of considering this report prior to the meeting. Whilst I acknowledge that that with the agenda being published on Wednesday of this week, time has been constrained. However, the Shire of Carnarvon is required by Section 6.2 of the Local Government Act 1995 to prepare and adopt a budget by 31 August each year. I'd firstly like to thank officers and the Shire's financial services provider, More Australia, for the work that they have done to have the budget ready for adoption today. The last 3 months have been a period of elevated activity for a number of reasons, not the least being the budget's preparation. I also want to acknowledge the community concern in relation to the above CPI rate increase. As we have seen around Western Australia, very few local governments have been able to contain rate increases at CPI levels due to rising costs and price volatility. Here in the Gascoyne, the CPI, which is a forecast of a basket of goods and services in Perth, has little relevance. Every 2 years, the state government issues the Regional Price Index, which benchmarks regional costs against Perth. In 2025, prior to the war in the Middle East, the RPI for the Gascoyne was 10.9% higher than Perth. Now to the budget. The Shire of Carnarvon has been successful in the Remote Jobs and Economic Development RGED program round 3, which will support the employment of 5 full-time positions and 1 casual position. This equates to an investment of almost $500,000 per annum and further enhances our workforce and service delivery while supporting our community into entry-level local government positions. It became obvious to me early in my term that urgent investment was needed in our plant to retire ageing and unserviceable equipment, including those that present unacceptable work health and safety risks. A significant $1.63 million investment funded by borrowings and reserves will allow the Shire to replace heavy plant and light vehicles this financial year. This comes at a critical time as we face an estimated $14 million cyclone impact, alongside a $6 million seawater inundation project and a fire season that is predicted to present above average risk to our region. Whilst this will not replace our reliance on external contractors, it provides the Shire with a baseline capacity to respond to emerging issues or get better value for money from project delivery. We are also investing significantly in our road network, our airports, our waste sites, and have allocated $200,000 this year for footpath replacement and development, which I'm sure will be welcomed by the community. A major upgrade of the Camel Lane Theatre will occur this year, which will improve disability access and replace ageing theatre seating. The leaking roof at our recently renovated Civic Centre will also be replaced, improving community amenity and also the resilience of our primary evacuation centre. The Shire's financial position does remain sustainable. However, Council ahead of the next budget process has much work to do. Central to this is the major review of the Strategic Community Plan, which will kick off later this year and is integral to confirming the long-term priorities of the community. This then needs to be backed by a new long-term financial plan and, in my view, a new rating strategy. I hope to commence work on the rating strategy this year so that the newly elected council has access to good information and recommendations on how to address inequity in our rate base and ensure that all ratepayers carry the burden of service delivery. In terms of asset management, council will soon consider a road strategy, which will set out a 5-year investment plan targeting the areas of highest need, backed by evidence. This will enormously assist council and future budget processes in delivering finite resources to the highest demand and highest impact areas. A similar approach is needed, in my view, for our fleet, notwithstanding that it accounts for 1% of our asset base. It is, however, critical in ensuring service delivery and meeting community expectations, whilst keeping our most important asset, our employees, safe at all times. A significant portion of the rate increase is also associated with unexpected governance changes, including an extraordinary election later this year. I am minded to request the local government inspector appoint a monitor to assist in the transition from commissioner-led governance to an elected council and have requested the administration make budgetary provision to support this. Long term, the council must focus on building reserves, minimising debt, and implementing a long-term rating strategy alongside its long-term financial plan. These are 10-year commitments to change, not annual budget cycles. The Carnarvon Airport needs immediately a $20 million investment, concurrently with an estimated $5 million investment in a new waste facility in Coral Bay. Quite simply, these are beyond the current financial capacity of the Shire and will require new revenue approaches and government support to achieve them. The real work begins tomorrow, with budget clarity now to deliver in the 10 months we have remaining. The Shire will soon announce a series of community meetings in Coral Bay and Carnarvon to highlight the budget priorities and answer community questions. Once again, I thank the community for the feedback that I've received on the budget. Whilst not every request has been possible, I appreciate the interest and the frank advice that I've received. We now turn to the officers' recommendations, of which there are 7, and I will deal with them separately, and they commence at page 27 of the agenda. I move that officers' recommendation part 1 and resolve that by absolute majority. I move officers' recommendation part 2 and resolve that by absolute majority. I move officers' recommendation part 3 and resolve that by absolute majority. I move officers' recommendation part 4 and resolve that by absolute majority. I move officers' recommendation part 5 and resolve that by absolute majority. I move officers' recommendation part 6 and resolve that by absolute majority. And I move officers' recommendation part 7 and resolve that by absolute majority. That brings us to item 5, closure. I thank staff and members of the public for their attendance, and I declare the meeting closed at 9:18 a.m. Thank you for coming.
Very much, Commissioner. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Good. Thank you.